Hi, my name's Charlotte. I'm working with families and babies in Lancashire. We are a service commissioned by Lancashire County Council to offer breastfeeding peer support to mummies across the county. We offer peer support in the hospital on the postnatal ward. We can also support you over the telephone and at groups, and we also do home visits. We've made this video today to give you an idea of what a typical home visit would look like. If you do want to obtain any of our services, then please feel free to call the helpline. Morning, Liz.
Hiya.
How are you feeling today?
Okay. Just a bit tired.
Okay. Yeah, that's normal with a baby.
And yeah, just not sure how it's going, really.
Okay. Is there anything specific that you're concerned about, or anything specific that you wanted to ask me about feeding?
I'm not sure if I'm doing it right.
Okay.
Basically, I don't know if he's getting enough or if he's feeding okay.
Okay. Well, what we'd normally do is just have a look at how baby's attaching at the breast, and then see if there's any adjustments that we can make to improve that for you. And I can show you some signs that you can look at for, good attachment, and then we can talk through some of the other things that we can be reassured by to know that baby's getting enough milk. It looks like he's ready to feed anyway.
Okay.
So if you just get him into whatever position you normally would, and then, oh bless him. Okay, so we want to make sure that baby's tucked in really nice and tight and close towards you.
Okay.
That's lovely. And then make sure his head's free so that he can tilt his head back to open his mouth really nice and wide.
Okay, like that.
That's lovely, yeah, and we can see that he's nicely tucked in. We want every contour of his body, I'll show you with my doll, to be pressed up against you, so he's really nice and close. And usually the chin will be pressed against the breast first as well. Okay. That's lovely. And then if you make sure he's positioned, that's it, he's gone on straight away there. Lovely, nice, wide open mouth, and they'll do that if they can tilt their heads back. Okay. If we're holding the back of the head, they're a bit resistant because it's quite an intimidating place to have a hand on the back of your head. So you can see you're supporting him absolutely lovely there, and you can actually lean back and rest now. You don't need to sit up, sit up straight.
So it's a bit comfier.
That's it. He's quite sleepy, isn't he? But he's gone on really well. So we'd look for his mouth to be, like we say, when he tilts his head back, he'll open it really, really nice and wide, and then his chin should indent the breast when he's on. And you can see he's got a nice double chin, so that means he's got enough breast tissue in his mouth. So that's one way that you can be reassured that he's feeding well, that he's got that nice big wide mouth when he goes on. It sort of looks like he's taking a big bite out of a burger. If it looks like he's sucking in, like drinking through a straw, then we probably need to unlatch him and just get him repositioned. Okay. Mostly, with most babies, if they can feel the nipple either at the nose or just below the nose, they'll do that tilt of the head automatically because it's a reflex action. You can see he's got a nice space between the nose and the breast as well, so he can breathe clearly. And he's not coming on and off, so
it looks
he's quite
comfy.
content there.
It feels comfy.
Yeah, so that's the other thing that we'd look at if you were feeling any pain or discomfort. And we'd always say to mums, if you are in pain, it's better to take your baby off, reposition and start again. If you sit through a painful feed, it's just going to make the next one more painful. We want to manage that so that we're not just constantly causing damage to the nipple.
Okay.
All right.
It's suckling and then it's stopped just now.
Yeah, so normally when the milk's flowing out nice and fast, they do kind of a rhythmic suckling, so it's usually 2 to 3 sucks per swallow, and you can usually hear the swallow when the milk's coming out nice and fast. Typically what happens, if the milk's not flowing quickly, or if the breast is full of really fatty milk, the suckling's a bit slower. It might be a bit more fluttery or vibrational, so they're kind of shaking the breast to pull that fatty milk out, because it's a bit thicker than when the milk's flowing, when we have a letdown, for example. Okay. So the other thing to look for that you can notice is in his nappies. So if he's doing this nice lovely yellow mustard poo,
yeah, it's that colour, really runny.
Lovely, that's fine. We'd expect it to be thick but a liquid, and a nice mustard yellow colour. Sometimes it can be slightly off colour, depending if they're teething or if they're older and they're taking solids and things like that, then the poo will be affected. Before 6 weeks of age, we'd expect at least 2 of these poos a day. More is absolutely fine, but 2 is sort of a bare minimum. And if you weren't getting 2 poos, you might want to ring us or speak to a healthcare provider and have a feeding assessment and make sure everything's going really well. After 6 weeks, sometimes the bowels do slow down, so they don't poo as often.
Lost a little bit of weight at first.
Okay. Yeah, that's normal. Yeah. So babies tend to lose, you know, sometimes they don't lose any weight at all, but usually within 10% weight loss is kind of normal at first. And then with really good breastfeeding, that responsive feeding that we do, so we're looking for babies really early feeding cues and getting them on the breast quickly and making sure that they're attached well. The weight should stabilise quite quickly. We'd expect a baby to be back to birth weight within the first 2 weeks.
What about if I want to express to feed baby?
Yeah, so
to leave baby.
Yeah, so expressing is something that we, you know, recommend waiting until after 6 weeks, just because it's something extra for you to do, and it's usually a good idea just to get breastfeeding really well established. But most mums do want to express at some point. Knowing how to hand express is a really, really good skill. Certainly for any blockages or for managing that engorgement and those uncomfortable feelings that you might have in your breast. The first thing I'd recommend is just try and feed your baby if you've got, you know, full breast, so you're feeling gorgeous. So that responsive feeding is about listening to your body and your breast as well. Most of the time your baby will take a feed if they're offered the breast, but if they don't, if they're flat out asleep and you're really uncomfortable, then hand expressing is probably a good idea. So when we're hand expressing, I'll just put my baby down. The best thing to do is, first of all, make sure your hands are nice and warm. Make sure you're feeling relaxed and comfortable. You know, we want the milk to flow, so if we're feeling stressed or anxious, it might take a little bit longer for that milk to flow, so just maybe sit down with a hot drink and just relax and make sure your hands are nice and warm. And always start with a little bit of massage of the breast. So we've got milk ducts that go all the way back into the breast, even right up into the armpit, so you might have felt sometimes some lumps even as far back as that. So what we want to do is make sure that all these milk ducts are stimulated and the whole breast is stimulated for when we're hand expressing. So you can do that with just a bit of rubbing with your knuckles, or just tapping lightly with your fingers, or just, you know, going round and round. We're not trying to like knead out a knot in a muscle, so it shouldn't be painful. It should be like quite a nice experience for you. If it's hurting or you're grabbing yourself, you're not going to be able to relax and the milk's not going to flow. So usually about 5 minutes is enough, making sure that we're hitting all around the breast. And then if you can feel a specific area where there's a lump, then that's probably the best place to start with your expressing. You want to make sure that you're not rubbing over the nipple, because it's not like milking a cow. If we're rubbing over the nipple, it's going to cause damage to that soft tissue and it's going to hurt, and again, that's not very relaxing for you. So we want to hold the breast in a C shape, so using your thumb and your forefinger, and if you imagine like a traffic light, you've got your red and your amber and your green, so everything's in a nice row. You want to be a couple of centimetres back from the base of the nipple, 2 to 3 centimetres, or about 1.5 inches. And you can usually feel the difference in the tissue as to where's a good place to start compressing, and that's all it is. It's just a compression. Again, like, we're not rubbing the breast or the nipple at all, we're just going to squeeze and release. And it might take a little bit of time before the milk starts flowing, the same way it does when your baby latches on or when you use a breast pump. We have to stimulate the milk flow, so just squeezing and releasing, and you'll find it over time it should start to come out. Certainly it takes a bit longer when it's colostrum because it's much thicker, so in those early days it's a little bit of a longer process.
I tried it when it was first born, when it was the colostrum. It was just tiny little bits in the end.
Yeah, it does. It just beads on the end of the nipple, and they only need very, very small amounts of colostrum. So if we're in those early days, we can either collect it on a teaspoon, or you can get syringes and things from your midwife that are sterile that you can use to hand express that colostrum into. And when we've been squeezing in one place, the milk should slow down a little bit, so we want to move all around the breast. You can go clockwise or anti-clockwise, whichever way, but we want to make sure that we're hitting every part of the breast. Like I said, there's milk ducts all the way around, so if we just keep doing that squeeze and release, eventually the milk should stop flowing, and then we know that we've probably emptied the breast quite well. and then you can move over to the other side. And what we'd normally recommend if you're using a breast pump is that you do the hand expressing at the end as well. You start with that massage with your hands, then use your pump, and then do the hand expressing at the end, because sometimes the pump doesn't quite have the same effect as when you're able to use your hands, and you can just squeeze out those last few drops and make sure all that nice fatty milk comes out as well.
You know, I'm just wondering, is there anywhere I can drop into or any other support just to get out?
Yeah, we're quite lucky.
Talk to people.
Yeah, we're quite lucky in Lancashire that there's a lot of breastfeeding support. You know, if you can't see the F.A.B team at home for any reason, or if you feel like everything's going really well but you just want to get out and meet other mums, there's loads and loads of breastfeeding groups across Lancashire. You can find that information on our website. There's a list, and it's all sort of divided by area as well. So, and they're not just F.A.B groups, there's all different groups. So anywhere there's a breastfeeding group across Lancashire, that information is available. Most of these groups have a cup of tea and a bit of cake as well, so you can go and socialise and have a bit of mum time.
I don't have to breastfeed as I walk in.
You don't have to breastfeed as you walk in, no. You know, you can just go in and chat to other mums, and it makes all the difference, I think, when you can go and see, you know, other mums breastfeeding. And usually at breastfeeding groups you see babies of all ages as well, so you can see the whole spectrum of mums breastfeeding from newborn and well into toddlerhood and things like that. So you can talk about, you know, the experience that you're having, and other mums will kind of reassure you about what's normal and how, you know, they might give you some tips about how they got through those difficult periods as well. And realising, you know, most people aren't getting 10 to 12 hours sleep a night. That's quite unusual. So that being tired is quite normal, and that's usually why there's cups of tea and cake.
Okay. Do I have to go for the whole thing?
No, they usually just run as a drop-in. Some of them are run alongside the health visiting clinics. You know, you can just go in and get your baby weighed or speak to the health visitor and then go and sit and feed your baby, or if they don't need feeding, you can still sit down and have a chat with the other mums. They usually last, you know, a couple of hours, so you could, even if you're running late, you know, you can still bob in. And there's usually peer support available or somebody trained available who you can talk to about any ongoing issues that you might have, or if you've got any questions about anything. But yeah, you don't need to stay for the whole duration. If you think, oh, I just need somewhere to go to feed my baby, you'd be really welcome to attend. You can also, if you can't get out to a group, the helpline is available as well. It's open every day, including the weekends from 9:30 till 2:30. So there's always somebody available that you can ring and speak to if you've got any burning questions or if you're struggling with anything. And we have a Facebook group, so you can join that and chat to other mums. And again, there's always somebody awake in the middle of the night, so if you're having a panic about anything, you can just post in the group and get some social support that way as well. So you don't even need to leave your house if you're struggling to get out.
Oh, brilliant.
All right.